All right, hey everybody, welcome to Augmented Reality, presented by the Triple S League. Check us out on YouTube for game guides, reviews, comedy, music videos, and tons more. I'm here as always with Cybsidian.
Hello, everyone.
And my name is Asheninity. Big news about BioWare this week, but before we get on to that, I just want to give a quick shout out to Cass, who messaged us on Facebook. She'd come across our NUKA-COLA recipe videos, and she does a lot with NUKA-COLA recipes. She's got a whole page of Fallout-themed cocktails that she's put together. I'm going to post a link to that down in the description below, but she's also one of the admins of a group called Fallout Fanatics, so shout out to all of you guys. Great to see there's still so many Fallout fans so long after the game's come out. I don't know, do you think it'll have the same kind of shelf life as Skyrim has?
Well, Fallout's been around for such a very long time, and I'm pretty sure that we haven't seen the end of Fallout. We haven't even seen the end of Fallout for, the 2010 to 2020 era. So there is some more Fallout stuff coming if the rumors are true.
Mm-hmm. But Skyrim specifically is still going very, very strong. They just released Special Edition. Modding has had a huge amount to do with that. Fallout 4, of course, big on the mods. So I'm just wondering if this is a game where we're still going to see a huge player base in 5 years, or if it's going to peter out a bit.
No, well, I mean, it kind of comes and goes. Every once in a while, I have an urge to play Fallout and explore the wasteland. Once you've been in the wasteland, once you've experienced the wasteland, and once you've walked the radioactive wastes, there's something that happens to you, almost as if you've been hit by a slight mutation where you have a calling to that sort of thing. So, it kind of sticks with you forever once you once you get deep into it. It's there for life. And
then you die horribly from radiation.
Yeah, the slight radiation problem. It's livable. It's livable.
Speaking of wasteland, I'm finally watching Mad Max Fury Road. And man, good movie. So BioWare is in the news. And I mean,
yes.
BioWare is in the news. It was everywhere today. There were about 4 articles about BioWare on every news site that I looked at. So what is going on?
Well, in the news about a month ago, everybody was kind of dumping on Andromeda, and for the most part, justifiably so. A lot of very rookie mistakes were made that should not have been made for a studio in their position, and they fell to a lot of traps and problems that have been plaguing the AAA studios now for a while. And it's not just Andromeda, it's not just BioWare that has suffered from these kinds of things. It's when you have a big enough fan base and a big enough group of people who are excited and expecting a lot from a game, and when it comes out and it fails on some really glaringly obvious things, that's when the size of the project, the size of the fan base can really come back to kind of sting you, because people don't like that. So yeah. We had said back in the end of March that heads were on the chopping block, and that there was
specifically at BioWare Montreal, which is the
pretty
studio
much exclusively at BioWare Montreal.
Right, yeah, specifically
which developed Mass Effect Andromeda.
And so just for context, so BioWare Montreal is a new studio that this was their first game, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was their first game under a lot of very new and rookie people in very high controlling positions, and especially on a game of this scale and scope. There were not a lot of very heavily seasoned veterans, and the ones that were bogged down by a lot of very, very new people to the industry. So
right.
So when the game came out and the negative reception was, and I love how they try to spin it. They're spinning it right now, going, "Oh yeah, the reception wasn't as positive as we would have liked, or the game's Metascore we had wished was a few points higher." It's like, oh, really? Just a few. Okay, okay, I get it. You're trying to save face. That's okay. That's fine. They're allowed to save face. The thing that really kind of stung them was that, all these little rookie mistakes, and basically that it made it quite clear to a lot of people at BioWare, at the heads of BioWare and at the head of EA Games, that some people dropped the ball pretty significantly. And we had said back in March, that some heads were on the chopping block. And
metaphorically speaking, well, then again, it is Quebec.
Jim Comey's head wasn't the only one that rolled this week, basically. So there's been a lot of staff moving around. Some people have been shifted in their jobs. Some other people have been notified that their contract will not be renewed. There's basically, from what I've heard, is that if you were to go to the office now, Montreal, there's now maybe like less than half of the people that were there, 7-8 months ago. Now, some of them have been shifted over to another studio to help with Star Wars, the old Star Wars Battlefront 2 that's coming out. And then some others have been given some work to do with BioWare Austin, which is developing a game that's been rumored to be maybe a new Star Wars thing. And then some others are assisting in the new game that BioWare's coming out with called Dylan. This is
Codename Dylan.
Yeah, Codename Dylan. Codename Dylan. Very important. Codename Dylan. Now this is pretty important to know. The studio is no longer functioning as an independent studio. Part of the family of studios. It's now basically a support studio where they say, hey, we need help on, this graphic or this thing, or need help flushing out this, zone or level or area.
So would you say it's been assimilated?
Yes, it's been assimilated into the greater smells of the
you gotta
smell.
Listen to last week's episode if you want to catch the context for that joke.
So BioWare Montreal is now pretty much just helping BioWare Austin and BioWare Edmonton. They were working on another project, and they were working on some pretty big DLC for Andromeda. They're still working on some DLCs and some patches for Mass Effect Andromeda.
Well, yeah, actually, new patch just came out yesterday.
Yes, but it did not include some of the stuff that was being said to be included, which means that they've scaled back on what came out.
Now, is the DLC? It was announced today that their upcoming games are going to be delayed a bit, and by a bit in this industry is months, if not years. What about the DLC for Andromeda? Is that still on schedule?
From what I'm hearing, they were going to have a lot of DLC. They're going to have a couple of big packs, like a couple of major packs and some other stuff. From what I'm hearing now, I'm not even sure if we're going to actually see a large-scale DLC for the game. I think we might see a lot of smaller tweaks and changes, and then they might try with one DLC and see how it sells. But from what I'm hearing is that basically the whole thing has been put on ice. And when I say thing, I mean the entire series, the entire genre of Mass Effect. The whole IP has been essentially put on ice and said, okay, yeah, we're not gonna deal with this. We're just gonna wait. We're gonna let it kind of cool. We're gonna try and figure out priorities. They really do need. Basically, they don't have any leadership that can bring the series back up to working order. And they do have good leadership. They have great leadership, but the leadership is currently doing other things. Mm-hmm. They're working on their other games. They're working on the new Dylan game. They're working on a handful of other things. And so they simply don't have enough time, and they don't feel like bringing in yet another new person to try and run, one of their best IPs. And they're really afraid of letting it fail again. So when they come back to it, and they will, they're going to come back to it with everything they got, and they are going to really try to blow our socks off this time.
So hopefully not on ice for long. We don't want it to freeze or burn. So let's talk about this Dylan game. So what is it, and is it going to be awesome? Like, I'm hoping that the new IP coming out of BioWare is going to be really good. Now that, if they put their B studio on Mass Effect Andromeda, they must be working on something pretty awesome, I'm hoping.
So,
fingers crossed.
Yes, there's a few things that are of note here. So, a couple of multiplayer modes that were supposed to come to Andromeda didn't come, and I was quite surprised when it released because none of the new stuff that had been talked about was there. So I was a little annoyed and surprised by that. But because those ideas had originated in the other studio, in the Edmonton studio, I don't think they were willing to let it go on something on a new studio's work when they were barely able to keep up with the workload. So it could be that they basically sat on it and said, no, okay, well, we'll use this for our new IP that's coming out. And they are teasing this as a brand new social experience, the likes that we have never seen before. I'm just saying, I have heard this song and dance before a number of times in the last 5 to 6 years, and nothing has been new. So BioWare, I really hope you're not exaggerating here. I really hope that you understand the difference between hype and not hype. And if this is not something that is actually new, innovative, and very, very amazing that will blow our socks off, then I'm pretty sure that you're going to be called out on it, and it's going to hurt.
Well, especially after the Andromeda fiasco.
Especially after the Andromeda fiasco. So maybe kind of cool it with the, hey, this is going to change your life. We've heard this song and dance before from many other people that have failed to, really failed to live up to the hype. And so I would beg you, please don't overhype yourself.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about that a lot of times. The excessive hype is not. It doesn't help your game unless you've got something that is worth the hype, like Fallout 4. But those not every. I mean, it almost seems like that set the bar in the industry when Fallout 4 was announced, and then the next year at E3, everyone was trying to emulate them.
But they still stuck to their old tricks, and they still listened to their old analysts, and they still did some of the things the way that they weren't supposed. They missed the whole spirit of the thing, which is really frustrating and annoying. Ubisoft
just embarrassed themselves, which is
Ubisoft just completely embarrassed themselves, and honestly, I was a little annoyed with them. So speaking of Ubisoft, so let's dive a little bit more into Dylan. So Dylan is EA's response and reply to the other big Ds in the game industry. One being Destiny 1 and 2 by Activision, and the other one being Division by Ubisoft, or as we like to call it, drops the ball a lot.
That's the literal translation of Ubisoft in French. Is who drops the ball. No.
We weren't too happy with the Division. We had been kind of promised a number of things, and it didn't pan out. Destiny's really held its own, but it's held its own very successfully. So basically, EA is looking at this saying, well, we want in on some of this, online MMO-ish kind of activities. So they said, hey, let's make an MMO-ish game. And literally, that's the word that somebody has used recently. It's MMO-ish.
It's MMO-ish. It's not an MMO. It's MMO-ish.
Yeah, it's light on the MMO side, which means that semi-MMO is what they used.
I'm not a Finn. I'm Finnish.
Yeah, so semi-MMO. This is going to be apparently something that utilizes, again, brand new, most amazing social dynamic, blah, 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 blah. So what is it? What is it going to be? It is going to be a sci-fi shooter. It's going to be very similar to Destiny and The Division in a lot of ways.
Okay.
It's going to have a lot of weapons. It's going to have a lot of weapon upgrade systems, components, very much, again, very, very much like Destiny and The Division. And it's going to aim itself to tweak itself to be more of an adventurer game. So more of a game that you have an ongoing, constant adventure with. You're constantly going somewhere and doing something and experiencing growth. You're not grinding the same things over and over and over again. This was one of the key foundations that they said that they wanted to bring, was a growing adventure that you could go on, and that you could go on with your friends, meaning that co-op is definitely going to be a part of this game. This is a game that you're going to be playing with your friends, with your buddies. The storyline is going to really revolve around a main character who's surprisingly, his name is Dylan. Now this could change. It's still, well, we're still almost 2 years out on this game. Probably 2 years, maybe a year and a half. At the very minimum, a little over a year. So we're still quite a ways out on this. The main character of the game so far, from what they've kind of developed, is a guy whose name is Dylan. There's going to be some companions that he runs around with. We don't know if you're going to be able to swap, character and gender, kind of like you do in a lot of these games that are coming out already. We don't know if that's going to be a thing. Put your money on it, though.
It can be Dylan's cousin, Dylina.
Yeah.
So if you're Dylan, and you get 9 of your buddies online, and they all log in, and they're all Dylan.
Dylan too. From what I've heard, you're going to play when you join somebody's game. You're going to play as one of his companions.
Yeah, well, probably, yeah. But it's funnier to think of a whole bunch of gingers named Dylan running around, and I don't know why I keep picturing. Whenever you say Dylan, I'm picturing this guy with like flaming red hair and kind of scrawny with a big ass rifle. I don't know.
Okay, well, I think you're wrong on that.
And aviator sunglasses.
They're really emphasizing the heavy social side of it. If you remember back the Division stuff, they were going to incorporate tablets and mobile devices into drones and mobile units that can scout and help you, help your team do content, that kind of thing. We might see a new emphasis on things along that line, thinking outside the box. So shooter, sci-fi, multiplayer, social work, social work, not social work.
The children down the street are living in deplorable conditions. Your mission: clean up the dog shit.
Yeah. This is going to be the biggest game that BioWare has ever made as far as scope, size, and things that you will see. This might explain why we have a handful of locations that are missing from the Andromeda. I've noted this a few times in the past that Andromeda had a lot of imagery, scenes, and zones that were created that had, Mass Effect characters running around in them. We didn't even see anything remotely close to some of that stuff on the planet. So it could be that they've kind of repurposed some of the earlier work on it because they have been working on this for a while. So I don't know. We'll see. This is really confusing as far as what currently BioWare is doing, and they better nail this thing right because they kind of flopped on Andromeda, and they've got some picking up to do.
Mm-hmm. You were talking about the emphasis on mobile devices and phones and tablets in games and stuff, and I was just thinking, everyone's got a tablet in games now. Link's got a tablet in the new Zelda game. That's your interface. Yeah. He's literally got his own tablet. That's basically an iPad. That and it's like this magic technology, right? But it's so reminiscent. It's an iPad, and it's got a camera.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some of the newest phones use quartz technology, but still, that's a little too. Anyways, moving on.
You're listening to Augmented Reality, a skeptical gaming podcast. If you appreciate this weekly content, maybe consider becoming a Patreon supporter. We have some bonuses that you can check out at patreon.com/the League. We'll put a link to it down in the description as well. The adpocalypse is real, and it's affecting all YouTubers, so this is a time when community support is especially necessary for all online content creators. If you aren't able to do that, we definitely appreciate every like and every share. We definitely appreciate our community. I wish I could respond to more of the comments that we get. Sadly, we just can't, but we do read them. So the other big news this week, of course, Prey is out. Somebody's already got the speedrun record at 19 minutes and 34 seconds for it. It's been out for a week. Somebody needs to lay off the Red Bull.
Oh my.
I've really been enjoying the game. It is, in a lot of ways, it is what I was expecting. In a lot of ways, it's a lot different than what I was expecting. I was expecting sort of a sci-fi Dishonored, and it does have some similar elements to Dishonored, but it's definitely its own game. It's got some unique elements that you don't see a lot, and it's a lot more focused on. I would say it's slower paced than Dishonored. It's a lot more focused on exploration of the environment that you're in, and a lot of unexpected things, and enemy spawns when you're not expecting them. Like you can never be certain, even if you've gone through an area and cleaned it out, that there won't be something waiting for you. So it's definitely it's a very tense game. I'm really enjoying it thus far.
Yeah, I'm really happy with what they did with Prey as far as pretty much everything. It's really looking to be like one of the best games of the year. So
it's definitely it's very well received. And I can see why. It's got that
game of the year this year is going to be there's so many good games. Prey is just phenomenal. Horizon Zero Dawn is phenomenal. For Honor is, as far as just a multiplayer game goes, is really, really, kicking it, and it's really, really good. I'm really impressed. And then you got Nier Automata. You've got Destiny 2 coming out. Zelda, I think, will take Game of the Year hands down.
Probably.
But, I mean, you put any of these other games into any other year, and they would have trounced most things that have come out in the last few years.
It has been a good year for gaming, 2017. I mean,
it's been really good. People have been stepping up their game. This is what we like to see.
Absolutely. Well, it's unfortunate that Mass Effect was subpar, and then that was all. It was all polish. It was all polish.
Yes, it was all polish issues, and to be honest, there was some image issues that were also kind of messed up with it too. So they They needed to hire. They needed to get somebody on the ball with their PR that's above and beyond, like whoever it is that's running Wendy's right now. My goodness, whoever is running the PR Twitter department at Wendy's. I never thought of Wendy's before a year ago. Now I'm like, I better check up on Wendy's. What are Wendy's doing today? I'm still not a super huge fan of the way they do some of their beef. Like they tend to make it extra juicy, and that's gross. I hate that. I like my barbecue patties really dry. I'm not coming to eat fat. Anyways, whoever is running that department at Wendy's is brilliant. And now there's a new trend going of Smug Wendy's. Have you seen this thing yet?
I have not.
Okay, so there's a new thing, a lot of fan art. They've been drawing the Wendy's girl to be very smug and, kind of like, I don't know what you want to call it. It's a little sexual, I guess. But they've been drawing her in this really smug, really like, haha, pulled one over you kind of way, and because that's literally what the Twitter account has been doing nonstop for almost a year straight now. It's just been one awesome takedown after another, and then just brilliant. But my goodness, the new art coming out for the Wendy's logo girl is some of it's really amazing. Some of it kind of creepy. Turns out some people got some really weird, I don't know.
Hey, what you do with your burgers in the privacy of your home is none of our business. But, yes, some of this... there are some very talented artists out there. This is... okay, this is nothing to do with with Smug Wendy's Girl, but this came up when I was searching Smug Wendy's Girl. It's a review for on Google Maps for the worst Wendy's I've ever been to. It's a Taco Bell. Lots of talented artists, and then there's some other very special people on the internet that we love, and they make us laugh. Oh, there's a Smug Wendy's Girl cosplay.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah. Dang, she really pulls it off. Okay, yeah. There may be a Smug Wendy's cosplay apocalypse videos in the future. You never know. Did you know? So... we've been going to conventions and doing those cosplay interviews, and definitely looking forward to hitting up some more of the conventions this summer. So we've been cosplaying as the Vault Tech sales guy. Everyone thinks that I'm frickin' Inspector Gadget.
Again, that must only be you, because I've never gotten that yet.
I, like 3 times this past summer, you know.
Just you.
Yeah, just me. Because you don't even look like the Vault-Tec guy in your costume. It's
I can't help it that it's, a cool black color.
Yeah, and you make me wear the frickin' Inspector Gadget costume. I'm going to something else this year.
It's even the wrong color. Inspector Gadget is gray. Yours is sand.
Yeah, because that's a...
Oh my goodness. I just found Smug Wendy's combination with Kill.
Nice. Let's see, Smug Wendy's cosplay. Oh, there's a bunch of them. Like, not a ton, but definitely, it's definitely a thing that exists. And for some reason, a picture of Jason Alexander, surrounded by all of these redheaded girls in pigtails. Go figure. There's no accounting for the Google image search algorithm. How the hell did we even get onto this? This is a weird tangent.
I don't know. I think it's just because Smug Wendy's is so amazing.
It is. It is a new thing that I have discovered, and it is very, very, very amusing. If you're an Outlast 2 fan out there, there's a patch to the game today that readjusts the difficulty in various key points, as well as a few other things, so you might want to check that out.
It makes it harder. That's amazing.
Rebalanced.
Oh, rebalanced. Oh, yeah. So not harder.
There were a few parts that were abnormally difficult. On normal.
You know what I call that? Quitters. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Quitters and complainers.
Yeah.
Back in my day.
Oh boy.
When we were playing video games, you got no redos. You die. You're all the way back at the beginning. Yep.
Well, the thing about it, video games, they did used to be a lot harder, especially the arcade versions. Mm-hmm. Of course, those were designed to take your money. So
yes, I remember blowing $40 on an arcade game once, and I thought I was going to die
because your parents were going to kill you.
Yep.
I hated playing the arcade games because then you would just start to get good and you would die and then you'd be out of quarters. So I always marveled at how much easier the games were. Getting the NES version at home or whatever. That's the way games should be. Who wants to stand up at a console to play a game?
Yeah, treadmill gaming is a new thing. I like it.
Well, I suppose. Yeah, actually. I was at the rec center once when I was a kid, and they had Super Nintendos hooked up to the exercise bikes, and there was this bike racing game where you would actually go faster if you pedaled the bike faster. It was really interesting. Had a lot of fun with that. But you think about how physically fit you would have to be to actually do some of the stuff that they do in games. It's insane. It's crazy insane.
For example, you have to bend physics in order to be able to jump out of water. Just saying, you can't jump out of water.
Then how did that orc do it in the third Hobbit movie? Huh? Answer me that.
Peter Jackson was watching way too much anime at that point.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all for this week. This has been Augmented Reality. Thanks so much for listening on behalf of Obsidian. My name is Ashen Entity.
Do you think I got time to mention the Firefly Online stuff? No? Okay. All right, next week. See ya!
Bye-bye! Thanks for listening to Augmented Reality, presented by the SSS League. If you appreciate this weekly content, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Patrons get exclusive access to podcast outtake videos, downloadable music, an RSS feed of our podcast, and more. See patreon.com/the SSS League for details. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.